Hey guys, let's go over Barry Morphew, Suzanne Morphew case and what we actually know. Let's go over the facts here in the case, not speculation, not things that we just don't know about, but the actual facts that have been brought forth in regards to Suzanne Morphew. First, we know Suzanne's been missing since May the 10th of 2020 this year on Mother's Day. And we also know that Suzanne and Barry moved to Colorado in 2018 from, I think it was Arcadia, Indiana. Yeah, Arcadia, Indiana. And we know that Barry and Suzanne have 2 daughters together, and they've been married. Suzanne and Barry have been married over 30 years. On May 17th, and I'm going to play a bit of the clip, but on May the 17th, a week after Suzanne Morphew went missing, Barry released a public statement pleading for Suzanne's safe return. And he did seem to allude to abduction in this, but I'm going to go ahead and play a bit of the clip here.
That has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back.
Barry Morphew sharing this video.
We love you, we miss you, your girls need you.
Okay. And then right here, we also know that Suzanne runs a nonprofit charity organization, as you can see the information in this photo. And Barry Morphew, her husband, he's a volunteer firefighter. And he's also a business owner of a landscaping company. And we do know, as you can see here, that Barry filed for guardianship over Suzanne on June the 1st of 2020. Now, their oldest daughter, who is an adult, provided consent for her dad, Barry, to be appointed guardianship. And this is just the document showing the guardianship information. I think there's 3 documents total. And then here a little bit about the guardianship. The pending petition states that Suzanne Morphew is deemed incapacitated under Indiana law because she cannot be located upon reasonable inquiry. The document also states that Barry Morphew is requesting to sell real estate in Indiana on behalf of Suzanne, who is the joint owner of a property that is currently in contract and scheduled to close on June the 6th. The need exists for the appointment of a guardian of the alleged incapacitated person, and that she cannot be located upon reasonable inquiry. And this is coming from Hamilton County, Indiana. And just that it needs to be sold, the property there, is what the petition reads. Okay, and we also know that early on, Barry mentions a mountain lion theory. And Barry also mentions that the investigator, he accused the investigators of, quote, screwing up the investigation from the start. And Barry said, quote, they are trying to cover it up and blame it on me, unquote. And then here, this is a neighbor, the neighbor that heard the noise in the middle of the night. We do not have a time, but she did come forward and spoke with Fox 21, saying that she did hear a loud noise the night before Suzanne went missing. And she said at first that she thought maybe it was a truck or something parked in her drive, but then she said no, it kept running. So it sounded like machinery or construction equipment, and it lasted for about half of an hour is what the neighbor reported. And then here we see that site beside the neighbor's home. And then here it looks like it was mapped out the distance in between. So on May 21st, the FBI commenced the 3-day search of the construction site next to Mary Branson's home. The site is located about 12 miles from Suzanne and Barry's home in the neighboring town of Maysville. And we're also hearing that Barry, which he's denied any type of non-cooperation with law enforcement. Barry says that he has cooperated and that he has searched many times for his missing wife, Suzanne. And from what I've heard, now maybe this isn't a fact, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there because I've read it multiple times, but that the surveillance cameras were not working on the day or around that time that Suzanne went missing. I'm not certain about the neighbors because, again, it's speculation at this point, so I'm not really going to go into much on that. But we also know, per the coworker, or per an employee, Jeff Puckett, was Jeff Puckett someone that had worked with Barry before? But nonetheless, Jeff Puckett had said that Barry rented a hotel room around the time that Suzanne went missing. And he claims that the hotel reeked of chlorine. And it is said that there is surveillance footage from the hotel, the Holiday Inn. So, we'll see if that comes forward. But it is being said that there was surveillance footage. And also, there's mixed things about the pool as far as if it was open or not due to COVID-19. And I do know that in many states, pools can and were open during that time, but they just had restrictions, different guidelines that they had to go by. So, a pool that was 10,000 gallons could have no more than 5 to 7 people at the pool area. So, again, I've read some say that employees at the Holiday Inn confirmed the pool was open, and I've read that another employee or manager has said the pool was not open. So at this point, we really don't know if the pool was or was not open. I also know that individuals have tried calling the hotel to get information as far as the check-in time and in regards to what time Barry checked in, and if it was Barry, the room was under his name. And by law, a hotel cannot give that information out. Excuse me. But a hotel cannot give that information out by law. So that's not something, unless that employee just has not been told, which is highly doubtful. But they're not going to give any of us that information in regards to who rented the room or who checked into the room. A hotel is not even allowed to say, let's say I'm staying at the hotel and someone calls and asks if I'm staying at the hotel. They're not even allowed to say yes or no, or at least in a lot of states that is true. But again, it could be dependent upon different states, but there's just not going to be answers received there. But let's go on. On 9/24, Suzanne's brother Andy, we know that he conducts an independent 6-day search for his sister Suzanne Morphew that Barry was not a part of. And then Andy does speak with Dr. Phil about the search and
Bothered me deep.
discrepancies. And let me see. I think, yeah, right
Bothered
here,
me
I'm going to
deeply.
play a clip
Thirdly,
real quick.
the EVI information, which is called electronic vehicle information, on his truck did not line up with his timeline of events that he laid out for the police. Fourthly, since then, some of his employees have come forward speaking of the smell of chlorine at a hotel room that he hastily got for them to set up on a
All right, so that was a bit of the clip that Andy Moorman, Suzanne Morphew's brother, done with Dr. Phil in regards to his missing sister and just the discrepancies there, talking about the information, the truck, it not lining up. And I'll link that Dr. Phil interview in the description here. And on 9/28, as you can see here, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office did release a statement on their Facebook page, and it says, contrary to some media reports, there have been no remains found in the Suzanne Morphew case. So there was a lot of talk going around about remains being found. We do know, per Andy, that cadaver dogs hit on 3 areas, but no remains have been found, is what Chaffee County Sheriff's Department is saying. And we do know around October the 5th or so, we saw Barry put the Puma Path in Poncha Springs' home for sale. And then it looked to come down and go back up. And here you can see the addresses listed: 19057 Puma Path in Poncha Springs, Colorado. And then here, currently, as of today, it's being listed. The address is no longer Puma Path. It says 000 Confidential Avenue. So, there's probably many reasons for that address change. I'm sure a lot of people were going, or still are going, by the house, but I'm sure the real estate company was getting a lot of calls, just inquiries about the home. So they did make that change from Puma Path address to the Confidential Avenue address. And I want to speak again because we know for a fact we can go on Suzanne's Facebook page and see this check-in from May 17th. But as I said in an earlier video, and I kind of wanted to elaborate here, that there was also a May 15th check-in that I located. And that one's no longer showing on Suzanne's Facebook. But the reason this May 17th is showing, and I'm pretty certain, I can't say 100% without a shadow of a doubt, but I am 97% certain. If you look there in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that this Facebook friend of Suzanne's, tagged Suzanne and said she was with, quote, air quote, with Suzanne Morphew, and she was going to this event, which was Sunday, May 17th, with Suzanne Morphew. So therefore, I'm thinking that's why we're seeing this May 17th date on her Facebook. But again, up in the air. Some are saying, no, that's not true. It doesn't work like that. But I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm going to have to research more just to kind of squash this, because if there's really no validity to it, there's really no point in mentioning it. And I know I mentioned it last week and done a video, but since then, I've really done some research, and I'm thinking that whole event thing is why it's showing that check-in currently on Suzanne's Facebook page of May the 17th. But let's move on. Morgan Gentile, we do know for a fact she came forward, and there was talk, people were saying that she was the mistress, that her and Barry were seeing one another when Suzanne disappeared. So she came forward, she squashed those rumors, and just refuting the claims that she was a mistress. So she spoke to Fox 21, and here's what she had to say. She said that it says a woman who worked for Suzanne Morphew's husband Barry has spoke about his behavior the weekend Suzanne disappeared. Barry fired her, and this is what Morgan's saying, that Barry fired her because she cooperated with the investigation into Suzanne's disappearance. Morgan is a former contractor for Barry Morphew's independent landscaping business, and she told Fox 21 that she was in frequent contact with Barry the weekend that his wife went missing. And she said that Barry, quote, he said, like, Suzanne has gotten attacked or a mountain lion has got her, unquote. And that's what Morgan is saying to Fox 21 that Barry told her. And Morgan claimed in the interview that two men approached her near Salida, appearing to be approached her and discouraged her, or appeared to discourage her from talking to police. Quote, we would give you your paycheck, but we don't want it to look like hush-hush money, unquote, the men told Morgan, is what Morgan claimed. And then it goes on to say Morgan told 21 News that she did give her phone to investigators, and she also gave 5 interviews. She said Morphew soon fired her via text message because she was complying with the CBI. Alright, and here's a note. We do know that a shop owner came forward and said that Barry Morphew came and knocked on her shop window and gave her this small note, baby blue bike helmet, biking clothing. So she's claiming Barry came to her shop, knocked on her window, and gave her this note. And this was right at the time that Suzanne went missing. So again, we do know, we've seen the note, but we only know that this is what this shop owner is stating. But again, these are just the facts, what has came, forward as facts, not really much of the speculation, and just what we know as of right now. So if there's anything I left out, I'm not sure if I had mentioned, I don't think I did mention the bike and the one other item. If I did, my apologies for repeating it. But we also know the bike was located, Suzanne's bike. But we also know there's no one that's confirmed seeing Suzanne on a bike ride. But again, we know Suzanne's bike was found, and we also know one other item was found. We just don't know what that other item is at this point. Law enforcement has not released any more information on that. But if you guys have any more facts that I did not mention, that I didn't think of to mention in this video, let me know in the comments.